Hello, we're back again for another LockDown podcast.
Yes, with a slight difference on our end because computers suck.
Yeah, updates and all this kind of stuff with Zoom were going wrong, so we're doing it via Facebook Messenger. So hopefully it works fine. The sound seems to be fine, so...
Yeah, Adam's got the comfort of a chair in front of a computer, and I've got the comfort of lying on my bed with a phone in my hand. But we're doing it.
We're doing it, exactly. We'll crack on. Obviously, like, subscribe. We're on Stitcher, SoundCloud, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, all the usual stuff. Deaths-wise, I don't know whether there is any, but I would say, obviously, George Floyd...
Yeah, I was going to say...
Yeah, the whole stuff going on with there is just terrible at the moment, so yeah, we've got to base it on that, I suppose.
Yeah, I didn't want to get too much into it, because at the minute the world's just fucked.
Yeah,
America's
the world's
about
on...
to explode.
Yeah, America is about on the cusp of explosion, yeah.
Yeah, and it's the early signs of a civil war, and selfishly, I just don't want our country to get involved in it. Because yes, okay, we're doing the protests and stuff, but as far as what's becoming protesters versus police, that's an American thing.
Yeah.
Well,
there's nothing we can do. They're already doing protests. There's a couple more going on this weekend in our country, so
yeah,
we're in, unfortunately. I mean, like I say, I agree with a lot of stuff that's going on with the protests and, you know, the movement and all that kind of stuff. It's just, I'm trying to stay out of anything negative, and
me too.
Obviously it's awful and it's terrible that it's happened, and it's good that hopefully a movement can go forward and make an actual change. But at the same time, I'm just, with lockdown still happening and everything, and day by day I'm trying to find reasons to be happy. I just want to try and stay out of the news and the media at the moment as best I can.
Yeah, it's like, okay, it's horrible what's happened. We support your protest, but yeah, we're halfway through another thing at the minute with this virus. Let's try and take things one at a time, otherwise, yeah, the world is going to explode. So anyway, so this is
like
meant to be a distraction for people and for us.
Yeah, exactly. It's meant to be a distraction for us, for other people, and it's, they say, it's not like we don't agree with the Black Lives Matter thing. We do, we really do. It's just we're trying to stay positive, and obviously at that moment it's just not a positive, and there's plenty of people behind it, so it's not like it's going to lose traction by not involving you and me.
Yeah, that's it. Despite our, how can I put this, political distance from it, we still attributed this to George Floyd, and yes, Black Lives Matter. I
100%.
agree with that. So
100%.
That's that.
So so you're doing the first question, aren't you?
Yes, question one. I really struggled this time on what questions to ask.
I did, and then a couple of things happened in the week, and I was like, right, easy. I've got 3 easily.
Yeah, I nearly based one on this week, but I thought maybe not. But first question for me, anyway. Some of the I could just go long-winded, but I'll just straight out ask it. Do you think the character matters more than the in-ring talent, or the in-ring talent matters more than the character?
Oh, that's really difficult, because it depends on the wrestler, doesn't it?
It does, but again, depending on the wrestler, he's almost saying it depends on his character.
Yeah. Oh God, that is really hard, that is. Because I'm thinking, like, it should be, I reckon it'll be the character, because if you can get a character over, it doesn't matter how good or bad your moveset is. If they love you, they love you. Like, Cena's not exactly the greatest wrestler in the world, but he's got such a good, incredible character that kids love and other people love, with the hustle, glory and respect, that it's gotten him over time and time and time again. And it's, you know what I mean? There's plenty of other wrestlers that, like, even The Undertaker now, back in the day, obviously he was phenomenal, but these days not so much. But the character's enough for you to still be invested. Tentatively, a little bit with, like, movesets, but you're still invested because of the character. So I probably would say the character more than everything. Although I'm the kind of person that really wants to see a good, solid match and see what people can do in the ring. If it's got a good, solid character that I'm invested in, it doesn't matter how many times they screw up, I'm going to love them.
Yeah, I agree. In case you're hearing...
You're covering your microphone. You're covering your microphone.
Sorry. Yeah.
Start again.
Yeah, I was going to say, in case you're hearing pinging in the background as well, that's my phone, I apologise. But yeah, I agree to a sense that I think the character just matters a bit more.
Yeah.
Because I think since past, like you could be the greatest wrestler in the world as far as how safe you are, how strong your athleticism. But if the crowd don't give a shit about you, you're not going anywhere.
Exactly.
So, I mean, back in the day before, everyone still talks about Shawn Michaels at WrestleMania 14, where Austin won the championship for the first time. And they go, oh, what a great match, considering Shawn had a broken back. And I thought it was a great match. But it would have been about 8 months earlier, they had another match where Shawn hadn't gone into the DX character at this point. They had another match which I thought was incredible because this was pre-Shawn's back injury and also pre-Austin's neck injury. So they put on a hell of a show. The characters hadn't developed fully into the characters we know now. And because of Austin's neck injury, he had to turn into more of a brawler.
Yeah.
So he was less of a good wrestler, but because of the new character, he was the greatest thing in wrestling at that time.
Yeah.
So in that sense, the character mattered more because Austin was over.
Well, I think a good point to match what we're saying is Mick Foley. He's not a great wrestler. You know what I mean? He's more of a spotsman than anything. He's more of just winging it and kind of stuff. But the characters that he's developed, 3 characters he's developed so well, and we're so invested in them that we literally don't care what he does in the ring because it's just like, well, we care about him.
Well, that's it. I mean, people, when Mick did more than near the end of his career, when Mick came out just as Mick Foley, maybe it's because he paid his dues with the fans at that point for what he put his body through.
Yeah.
But he's just a man you levitate to anyway. He's just like a giant teddy bear with one ear.
Get that in a discount store for your kids.
Yeah, well, let's put it this way. We talk about like Cesaro and Lashley, and they're struggling to get their character over.
Exactly. Amazing wrestlers, but characters aren't getting them over.
And yet Mick got 3 characters over. Just love, maybe not so much, but you got Cactus Jack over and Mankind, and now people can't even do one.
Yeah.
So, I mean, don't get me wrong, the athleticism matters because it's health and safety at the end of the day. The person you're wrestling, you're pretty much putting life in your hands and vice versa. But yeah, as far as getting over it in the business, as far as where you'll go up the ladder, the character I think matters more.
Yeah,
because if they don't care about you, then it's not going to work. Yeah. All right, your turn.
Right, my first question is, the Buckle Bomb's been retired. I think it was end of last week he got retired because just too many injuries and everything. I was like, fair enough. It's not the end of the world. It's not like it's a constant thing in everybody's moveset. It's just there randomly at different points. So with that being retired, my question is there any moves that you know that are retired that you would want to come out of retirement and be used again?
I take it we're just talking in the WWE. Right?
I would assume so, yeah. Because it's like all the other moves in like different promotions, they don't really retire them that often, do they, really?
No, I mean, I can't remember if I've seen this in WWE or not. I think I did. I can't remember what it's bloody called now, but it's kind of like a senton pile driver thing. And that surprises you. I'm pretty sure it wasn't WWE, and that surprises me because as far as I know, the pile driver is still banned in WWE.
It is.
Because when Punk did it to Cena all those years ago in their match on Raw, he got in a lot of trouble.
They both did. Apparently they just won it on the night. Apparently Punk just whispered into his ear, I kind of want to give you a pile driver, and Cena went, yeah, go for it.
Yeah, and I understand the health and safety aspect of it.
Yeah, because it is dangerous.
I've always said this. It's wrestling. It's not ballet. Everything you're doing in the ring is dangerous. So, but the fact that you use these moves and do it is because you've been trained properly.
Yeah.
So if you're trained properly to use the pile driver, I don't see the problem.
Plus, also, it's Punk and Cena. They've had so many matches together that they trust each other. They could wrestle each other in their sleep. So they're the most trustworthy for each other. If it was some random people that hadn't really wrestled much each, I'd be like, oh, don't do that. But they wrestled each other so many times that there's no way they could have fucked it up.
Yeah, I mean, if you bring in the tombstone part of it, on one side it's like, well, it's slightly safer because
The neck's above the knee
people
line.
use it.
Yeah.
But Taker just uses it, and he holds them up, and it's just a little bit more. You got more control.
Yeah. Plus the neck is higher above the knee line than a regular pile driver.
Yeah.
There's more clearance.
But the argument can still be, why is he using that? We say the reasons we just said, and they can just turn around and go, it's still the risk of someone landing on their head.
Yeah.
Like a pile driver. So, yeah, I mean, the pile driver is the one that just springs to mind. I get the buckle bomb because it kind of ended Sting.
Yeah, definitely.
And now Kyrie's hurt.
Yeah.
But I genuinely thought you were going to speak about Nia Jax.
I might be getting onto that in a bit, to be honest.
Okay, all right.
Spoiler alert!
Is it me then?
Yeah.
Yeah. Obviously, especially in recent events going on around the world and whatnot. A great example to bring up is what's happened with Drake Maverick.
Yes.
Now, before I get into the opinions of what you think of it, I mean, obviously, for people who don't know, he was one of those people that released, did a big emotional video, said it's going to be part of the Cruiserweight title tournament, got really far into it, eliminated, and then Triple H comes out and hands in an NXT contract. Now, if it was a work, then it's fantastic acting from Drake. Because personally, I was looking at this going, I don't think Drake knew this was going to happen.
Mm.
But if it was a work, I know this might not be a popular decision, but I was okay with it. So to get to the point of what the state of the world is in at the minute, and that example, do you think it's harder to push the envelope now because the world is such a millennial place that we're pretty much walking on eggshells everywhere?
That's a good question. It's actually good because you're talking about a topic that I'm going to be getting to in a question,
okay.
But it's a completely different question, but it's based around the same story. So luckily I can keep that aside. But yeah, the question you asked, is it... yeah, I think it is quite difficult to push the envelope. I think it's, like you said, eggshells is a very good term to use. It's because every single time you're doing something or you're taking that chance or whatever, you're always going to upset someone because everybody's getting offended these days or disagreeing with you. And because we've got social media and big platforms like that to talk about, more people are getting eyes on other people's opinions, and then petitions and movements happen all the time because there's so many people that can see so many other people's opinions on stuff, and social media filters that stuff to what you like cookies and everything. So the more people that like the same thing or agree with the same thing you do appear on your timeline. It's the same for the people that don't agree with your stuff. They all get the stuff that they agree with, but you don't. So that's where it naturally builds up, and that's where all the arguments and the debates and all that kind of stuff happen because of it. So, yeah, it is very difficult to push the envelope, mainly because of social media, is the reason.
I was going to say social media because the big fans know that the Attitude Era will never return in this day and age, but we would love it to. It's just not going to happen.
No.
But if the Attitude Era... if social media was around during the Attitude Era, I don't think Attitude Era would have ever happened.
No, definitely not. Definitely not.
But despite it being a different time, the world would have still been too opinionated to the point it would have been, like you said, it would have spread like wildfire. If it was spread like wildfire and it was good, then that's great for what was the WWF.
Mm.
If it's bad, then things have got to be nixed.
The same thing happens. It spreads like wildfire, and then you have to act because you've got so many people pointing the finger at you saying if you don't do something, there's going to be problems, and you have to act because you're part of that chain as well.
Yeah, and to a degree, it annoys me a bit because just trying to go on the recent one of the releases, we've spoken with a few friends about this, and they're going, I hope this isn't a work and that isn't a work because it's disrespectful to the people that have been released and everything's been going on. And I get it to a degree, But unless I was personally insulted by it, I don't think it's right for me to go, oh well, they're going to be insulted by it, so don't.
Yeah, you can't assume that other people are just going to. Oh, if I'm insulted, that means other people must be as well. I must find these people and make sure that everybody knows about it.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. The way it happened, when it first happened, and then the rumours started coming through that it might be a work, I was kind of sitting there going, some people might not be happy about this, but I wasn't, and I maybe it's because I'm not on that side of the fence. I can't relate to it, but the Matt Hardy Edge Lita storyline.
That was these days. I'd be like, I'd probably swear off WWE if they did it tomorrow. But back in the day, it's just it's still pushing the envelope. But at the time, you're like, fuck, it's good TV though.
But that's it. I mean, if you remove the fact that
it's dicey as fuck,
a real life story,
yeah,
right. If you forget, if it was genuinely just a story, if Matt and Lita had never been together but they did this, I thought it was a fantastic storyline, like you say, and it's one of the best things they've done in the last maybe 15 years. Maybe because it was real, who knows? But if anyone had popped up at that point saying, this is disrespectful, stop that, because I've been cheated on and it's horrible, I'd be like, go fuck yourself. This is a story. It's like a movie. It's like a soap opera. Yes, I'm sorry that you got cheated on. It's horrible.
But they're not. Yeah, but they're not using this storyline in order to piss you off. They're doing it to get ratings and get people invested in the product. They're not doing it to personally attack you. This is the point. Like I said, you said with eggshells and everything, it's very difficult to push the envelope. The whole problem with that is that these days people think that their opinion is as important as your facts. And that is the problem. It's just like, and that's where you can't win, because they just think that their opinion is just as important as the facts, and that is why people just go absolutely insane. It's like, just because you're offended doesn't mean you're right. And that people need to really understand that. They also need to understand that you can have a healthy debate, you can disagree on stuff, but it doesn't mean that you have to hate that person because of it. So people need to relearn that in society, that you don't have to hate someone just because they don't agree with something you do.
The point of movies, soap operas, and all that kind of TV shows, when they write a script and they have shows that have, rape storylines, murder storylines. I mean, God, the amount of murder shows that either documentaries or dramas are out there is insane.
Yeah.
And yet, no one's going, well, some people might, but no one's going, oh, what, are you making light of murder? No, we're not. We're putting a spotlight on it. We're creating a story about it for entertainment value and nothing but entertainment value, but we're also putting a spotlight on of how horrible these things are.
Yeah, they did. The same thing happened in a Game of Thrones episode where Ramsay rapes his new wife, Sansa. And I think people have got a bit annoyed because I don't think it happened in the book, but it happened in the TV show. They're just doing it to bump ratings. No, they're just trying to tell a story about how awful it is, and also to show how awful the character of Ramsay Bolton is, and how he'll literally do anything because they want you to hate him so much that when he finally gets his comeuppance, you are so happy. And pushing that envelope makes that happen.
Yeah, I was going to say, wrestling goes under that line of movie, TV show, because that's what it is at the end of the day.
Yeah.
It's got a script, it's got story. The only difference is it is live and involves physical wrestling. But using the Edge Lita Matt storyline as an example again, they weren't making light of it. The only way they'd be making light of it is if they wanted Edge to be the good guy and Matt to be the bad guy.
Yeah,
but it wasn't that.
They ran with what it was.
The bad guy because of what they did to Matt.
Yeah,
and they were like, let's make a storyline of like how much you were a dick, and they will get behind Matt, and the ball rolls from there.
Yeah,
and nowadays you can't have thorough storylines like that to get you invested because of the world we live in.
Mm-hmm.
And it means, unfortunately, a lot of the stories. Some of the stories are great. But a lot of the stories are the bland, simple ones of I don't like you or I want your belt.
Yeah, and that's
And
boring.
It's simple as that. Yeah, the last really good storyline was Ciampa Gargano.
Yeah.
Because it was a betrayal thing. But I'll bet you any money someone in the world on Twitter or Facebook or whatever is like, this is inappropriate. My best friend
Yeah,
fell out.
they probably complained that he spat on the ring and threw it. Someone probably complained.
Oh, yeah,
they probably did, but I saw that and I went, "That's awesome! That's such a good heel move." And they obviously signed off on it. They're best friends in real life.
Yeah, if it bothers the minority, then don't worry about it.
Yeah, exactly. But this is the issue I'm coming back to. The minority are getting a bigger voice these days because of social media.
Yeah, I mean, the only two that come to mind where I thought, right, even I think the point of this is that they, yes, push the envelope, but there still has to be a line.
Yeah.
And the two times they crossed the line was bringing Roman Reigns' cancer into it.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you'll remember this, the whole storyline with Triple H, Kane, Katie Vick.
Yes, I remember that. Too far.
I don't know what they were thinking with that, but that was too far.
Fair enough.
So, okay.
So, right, so my question is, it is the Nia Jax one. Basically, do you think she should be fined or fired given the fact that she keeps injuring people, or do you think she should just get away with it?
Ironically, I had this conversation yesterday with my brother because first time we met in 2 months in a garden, so we had a bit of a chat.
2 meters apart before anybody goes off on one.
Yeah, it was 2 meters, had a mask on, it was all cushy. This isn't the first time Nia's hurt someone.
Yeah, it's the thing. I think I actually, when I heard that she'd injured Kyrie again, I think I out loud went, "Oh, for fuck's sake, Nia." And it was literally a month ago that she'd injured her anyway.
The thing is, Nia's character is... I'm not going to say it's one of my favourites. Sorry, I knew I put the thing over the mic then. It's a passable character, but she has that the edge because of her unique look. You know, she's the big girl around campus that can just kick everyone's ass.
Yeah.
But either A, she's taking that way too much to heart and is just throwing people about without a care. But another part of me, when after the Kyrie thing happened, just kind of going back to what we were just talking about, I thought, could this be a work where they've gone? I don't think it is.
Well, no, she generally split her head open.
Sorry?
She generally split her head open. I saw the cut.
Okay, well, because I didn't think it was a work, but I thought, genius if it was. Of like, let's make this work, this storyline that Nia is an unsafe worker. But I think, unfortunately, it's real.
Yeah.
So I would maybe fine her. I wouldn't fire her, but I might say, look, if you're not careful, you're going to have to go back to the performance centre and stay there and be off TV and house shows, which mean less paychecks, until we can trust you. Because you hurt, it's one thing if you hurt yourself. You're beginning to hurt other people around you. On
a regular basis as well.
Yeah.
Like, injuries happen all the time. It just, that it's part and parcel of being a wrestler. But when you injure people this many times, she's made 3 injuries this year already.
Yeah. Yeah, that's it. I mean, it's either reel it back or we're not going to be able to trust you.
So you would say fine and potentially punish in some way?
Yeah, possibly a fine, but I'd be like, just pull it aside. Like, if you keep this up, we're either going to throw you back to the performance centre until you get the point and work safely, or you're out the door.
Yeah.
Simple as that. Because, I mean, if you think about it with Brock in the last, so he's been back 8 years. And in the last 8 years, pretty much 3 out of the 4 matches he has in a year, he's throwing someone about the ring like they're nothing.
Yeah.
And yet, bar maybe what happened to Randy Orton, you never really hear of Brock really injuring someone in the ring.
No, that's true.
And for someone for Brock's size to be as dominant and make it look as brutal as he does, but with no injuries, shows how good Brock really is. He's a very safe worker.
Yeah.
I mean, we were all worried about when he went against Daniel Bryan. And that first German suplex.
So, he landed straight on his neck. We're like, oh, God.
And yet, Bryan came out of that unscathed.
Yeah.
So if Brock can do it,
Nia can do it. Yeah.
It's something people just have to
learn,
take into consideration.
Yeah.
So, is potential for Nia to get better, but she needs to be able to knuckle down and get better.
Yeah, fair enough.
So, is it my last one?
It is your last one.
Okay, I don't know if you'll agree with me with this, but I've kind of been very vocal, maybe not on the podcast, but just in life, that I think the greatest match I've ever seen is Shawn Michaels Taker at WrestleMania 25.
Yeah.
Now, and there's been a lot of talks on the internet, and I've had conversations with people about it, of like, if you went to a casual fan who, maybe wanted to get into wrestling, so you went, well, here you go, this is the greatest match of all time, and you just shown it from the opening bell to the end, I'm wondering if it still would have been the great match it was, because if they don't understand the story or the characters, is it just as good?
Yeah.
Because at this point, a new fan's not going to know about the streak.
No.
Or know about Shawn or Taker. So my question is, what do you think the greatest match is that you've seen where the storyline didn't matter? Where you could watch it all the time and just go, I don't care who these people are, I don't care about the story, these guys are tearing the house down just by their pure wrestling skill.
Oh, that's you pose some hard questions where I have to kind of sit and think.
I think about shit.
I don't. I think it's just like, what's happened in wrestling this week?
This question I literally came up with 5 minutes before this conversation. So.
It's really, really difficult to pick one because obviously I'm so invested in storylines and everything that I'm naturally, my brain's just going, well, there's a storyline here, there's this little bit here that leads towards that. It's the same thing as watching like a movie franchise. It's like, well, when people say, where should I start watching the MCU? At the start, because if you do it in the middle, you're missing out on shit. It's the same thing. Yeah. However, the one that keeps popping to mind, and it's not necessarily a popular one, but it's one I'm going with because a couple of times now where a couple of our friends have said, show me a good recent wrestling match and all that kind of stuff to try and get me back into it. Our friend Dan wanted to get back into it a few years ago, and the match that I threw over to him, which he instantly went, mate, that was amazing, was Brock Lesnar versus CM Punk at SummerSlam.
Yeah, I thought you were going to say that as well.
It was a really good, solid match, and it is one of those matches that I have gone and back and watched a few times. And this is the thing, these days, I think from like 2016 onwards, there's not really been a match where I've gone, I need to go back and watch that straight away. I enjoy the matches, I really enjoy the moments, the storylines and all that kind of stuff, and there is some great things that happen. But there's never a time I think, I've got to go back and watch that match straight away. I haven't had that in a long time. So, I'd say it was Lesnar versus Punk at SummerSlam is the one I would chuck to someone to watch.
I'd say that's a great choice. Because the thing is, with Taker Shawn, again, if we took the example I said of like, this, if you're showing a match to someone who's never been exposed to it, there's a possibility that halfway through the match, they'll get an idea of who these characters are.
Yeah.
But at that point, that wasn't Taker and Shawn's main vocal point because they didn't have to get the characters over. People knew who they were.
Yeah, it's like watching Avengers Endgame before watching any of the rest of it. It's like, well, they don't have to invest you in the characters. You're already invested in the characters. They're just going to do their job. Yeah.
However, one where... Again, they might not have been doing this intentionally. It just might have been the way they structured the match and the characters they were. Rock Austin at WrestleMania 17.
Yeah.
I love that match. They just kick the shit out of each other. And just through the match, you can tell the type of people these people are. Whether it be just The Rock's charisma and his, no pun intended, the electricity he brought to the ring.
Yeah.
And then there's like moments where Austin will have like The Rock in the sharpshooter. He'll get the ropes. The ref will say break it, and he'll just flip
him off. Yeah.
Well, I get it. I get the character. So, as pure wrestling, I think I'd say Rock Austin at 17.
Yeah.
But the other one in my head, which could be argued as not a wrestling match, but it happened, is Mankind Taker Hell in a Cell.
Yeah, but again, you're trying to explain to them that it's the Hell in a Cell thing, isn't it? It's not, that without understanding what the point of that is and everything. It's because I've seen like videos of people say what people watching wrestling for the first time, and then people have shown them that match, and people are just like, "Oh, I'm so confused. Is he dead?" You know what I mean? And just shit like that, and just like I feel like they'd be taken out of it a little bit because of whether or not they think this is really happening and whatnot.
Yeah, I suppose it maybe shouldn't be included because in itself, Hell in a Cell is kind of its own character.
Exactly. Yeah.
So I'll settle with Rock Austin then.
Cool. Yeah, I'm sticking with the Taker, Lesnar Punk.
Yeah. Cool.
So, final question of the podcast from me to you. So we're going back to the kind of Drake Maverick thing that happened this week. My question is, do you think we have been worked, or do you think that they've kind of responded to the backlash, or not necessarily backlash, or responded to the heart-wrenching video that Maverick put up? So it's basically, did they work us, or did they just change everything and react because of what happened? What do you honestly think that is the reason?
An honest answer, I really don't know. Because
which is probably a good thing, really, because it's open to interpretation quite a lot.
It does that thing we've always said, of blurring the line of kayfabe.
Yeah.
Which I love it when they do that, because it's hard to do. But I think if it was a work from the get-go, then regardless of how people think about it, hats off to Drake, because I bought into it.
Oh, I bought 100% into it.
If it was a kind of, all right, the backlash from it, we'll look into this. It's kind of a middle finger to everyone else that got released, because it's like,
yeah,
if I did a video of me crying my eyes out on the video,
yeah, it's kind of like, yeah, exactly. It's like, well, surely other people should be getting high back then if he's allowed to do that. And it's a bit of a, like you say, a middle finger to everyone else that generally got fired from their company.
Yeah, I mean, me and my brother spoke about this as well, and again, it was something when I first heard about it, I thought, well, that's potentially a good thing. And then my brother told me in small detail about it. I thought, kind of took the wind out of my sails a bit. Allegedly, WWE are already reaching out to the superstars they've released and the talk of possibility of bringing them back.
Yes, and I think I know what you're about to say, but...
Yeah. But on a much lower pay.
Yes, like it's basically like a third of what they had before.
I mean, on one side, a job's a job, and any just, let's face it, normal human wrestling fan getting the opportunity to work for WWE, you're going to snatch up. But for people that have already worked there,
you've got to know your worth.
The way they did, yeah. It's got to be. If I was one of those superstars released and the phone rang, it's like, all right, we'll bring you back, but we're giving you a 50% pay cut. I'd really have to think about it. And one of the main reasons is, it's like, right, do I really... Number one is like, do I really want to give them the satisfaction of, let's face it, me crawling back to a lower paid job?
Plus, you know it's not going to be a regular contract. It's going to be like the others. So if you get in there and you're not used properly and then you can't wrestle and you're just sitting on the bench and then you get released and you can't wrestle for another 90 days and all this kind of stuff, you're like, what was the fucking point? I might as well have gone somewhere else. But then at the same time, you're like, well, no one else is hiring right now, so I've got bills to pay. What do I do? It's kind of sneaky of WWE to be doing it because it's catching you at your lowest moment to try and save some money.
Yeah, it's... again, I was going to say, with other companies now, it's weighing up your options a little bit because they could, like I say, if you pick up the phone, you want to come back with 50% pay cut, you could put the phone down and say, I'll have a think about it and go, well, fuck them, I'm going to try AEW. But again, it's the risk of, will AEW want you, or will it work out in AEW, or whatever? It'd be different if this still might be the case, because they say it's all Chinese whispers. If they said, we're going to bring you back, but it's going to be kind of like a 0-hour contract trial period kind of thing. Like, in the current climate of things, we want to support you with a paycheck, for your family. So come back. But when things start going back to normal, after a few months, we'll help you out with the resources we have. But if you haven't improved in a sense of getting a new character over and, just got over, basically, climbed up the ladder to mean something, then you're probably going to be shown the door again. But on the same note, the company have to give them more opportunities.
Yeah, exactly. That's the problem. It's Vince, isn't it? He'll give someone an opportunity and then they'll grab the brass ring and run with it. But then the next week he'll go, nah, I don't like the character anymore. Forget it. The problem when you've got someone so thick and flaky at the top, it's so hard to. It's like treading water. It's so hard to generally get over because you think, I'm getting somewhere, and then the next week he's like, no, he's just going to drop you. Or vice versa, you might suddenly, you're getting nowhere, and you're literally like, I think I'm out the door. Then suddenly he'll just push you to the moon, like he did with Jinder Mahal. It's you know what I mean? It must be so frustrating for performers in that company.
If I use Primo and Epico as an example, if they were two of the people where WWE picked up the phone and said, come back 50%, and for whatever reasons they went, yeah, all right. If they gave them that speech of, we'll support you, you're getting a paycheck, but you've got to try and get over and get better, otherwise the door's there again. They could go back to drawing board, create new characters, get bigger, faster, stronger, whatever, and be knocking it out of the park. But if they're knocking it out of the park at house shows, great. But if Vince or whoever doesn't give them the opportunity to show that off on TV, then they're not going to get over.
Yeah, it's opportunity. It's like if a tree falls in a forest with no one around, does anyone hear it?
Exactly. Yeah, it's like you could be like someone could go, I went to WWE house show the other day. Oh yeah, Primo and Epico were there. So what? And they can go, dude, they were fucking awesome. Then the next big thing. But if we aren't exposed to it as a TV audience, we're not going to know.
No, that's true.
So, I mean, it's a great opportunity to a degree for WWE to say, come back. But it's kind of like a backhanded compliment of just 50%.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's a bit of a dick move. I mean, with the Maverick thing, I'm kind of leaning towards the fact that I think they reacted. Because I heard it apparently Triple H was completely unaware that Vince was going to let go a load of NXT people until the day it happened. So I think that obviously naturally Triple H is pissed off, but there's nothing he can do. And then once that video went up, I think maybe Triple H just debated it and said, look, we've already booked the Cruiserweight interim kind of tournament, which he's in. Why can't I just push this and everything? And I'm kind of hoping that is what happened, that they reacted and changed things rather than just generally being worked. Because, like I say, fair enough, if they did work, because everyone bought into it, including us too. But I kind of want it to be the latter because it just makes it more like, it kind of cushions the blow a little bit. You know what I mean? It's just like, they just reacted because of how bad it went for Maverick, and then they just thought, they do what they did with the Lita Hardy Edge thing. They capitalised on something and made it interesting.
Yeah, I think it hopefully would have been a bit of both, because Drake could have put that video up and maybe a few thousand might have said, "Oh, we're so sorry, Drake. We realise how upset you are. Good luck with your future." But thousands upon thousands of people spoke out about how bad they felt for Drake and stuff.
Yeah.
So obviously WWE are going to be aware of that. And there was probably a conversation like, well, what do we do here? And it wouldn't surprise me if Triple H said just, right, he's in the tournament, give him a chance. And Vince might have gone, all right, let's see if he can impress me enough. So it almost was becoming a work there of like, if he impresses me enough, then we'll keep him, but we'll, in a few weeks' time at NXT, that's when you'll come up with the contract and all that stuff. But again, with Drake's reaction to the contract with Triple H came out, if it was a work, fantastic acting.
Yeah.
But that small part of me thinking, I wonder how aware of this he really was.
It seemed like he was quite genuine. I couldn't really see any fake fakeness to him when he was being given the contract and all this kind of stuff. It didn't, and like even people were chanting his name as he was walking up the ramp before he was given the contract, and he did generally look like, well, this is clearly it. This is the end.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'd like to think that, because normally, like a lot of the times, you can kind of tell when someone's not in it. Like you can tell when Lesnar's pissed off straight away. You can tell when he's looking forward to a match, walking down the ramp, and when he's generally pissed off that he's having to even do it in the circumstances. You can just tell the difference. You can see it in his eyes. And I think that it's similar to Maverick and a lot of other people. Like, it just seemed quite genuine for Maverick, and I'm hoping that that is the case.
Yeah, I did hear Drake say to Triple H, I won't let you down.
Yeah.
So, I mean, again, if that was part of if it was a work and that was a line in the script, whatever. But I don't know, it's something you'd say from the heart, I think.
Yeah.
If that sort of thing was happening. I mean, apparently, Asuka didn't know about Becky's pregnancy announcement until she was in the ring.
No, she didn't. She didn't know.
Which I really like.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Because you get a nice, genuine reaction, and it instantly turned Asuka face. Straight away.
Yeah. Just to kind of go, let's, with all the shit going on in the world at the minute, let's fuck the kayfabe thing.
Let's have some joy.
Have a nice, genuine moment.
Let's have some joy, some happiness.
Yeah. So if they did that with Asuka and Becky, it wouldn't surprise me if that was the same thing with Triple H and Drake.
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
Yeah. At the end of the day, I'm glad to see Drake stay because...
Yeah, because I quite liked him. Even though he was a comical character, I quite enjoyed everything he was doing. Even the comical skits with the 24/7 title and his missus. It was laughable, but in a kind of endearing, kind of buddy comedy kind of way, and I quite liked it.
It was refreshing from just R-Truth running about with the bloody...
Yeah, absolutely. I was sick to death of R-Truth for holding it. I'm sick of it.
Yeah.
I want someone else to be getting on with that now, and it's just becoming R-Truth's title, and I don't want that. I want someone else to take it on and do a story with it.
When Drake had the belt, it was a prime example of he was given an opportunity of like going to be 24/7 champion, and he took the ball and ran with it.
Yeah,
like caring about the belt more than his new wed wife.
It was hilarious. It's a great storyline.
The Instagram photo where he's like a picture of me and my baby on honeymoon, and it's him and the wife, but he's got the 24/7 belt over her face.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, this is brilliant.
It was funny, and he is hilarious.
Yeah, so I'm glad Drake's staying.
Me too. I'm just like you say, we hope it's not a work.
If it is, it is.
Yeah, there's nothing we can do about it. Anyway, it's he's got his contract now. He signed it, so.
Yeah, so there's a reason to watch NXT.
Yeah, true.
Yeah. Okie doke, I think that's it.
Yeah, it is. So got Backlash next Sunday. I mean, it's in your house this Sunday, and then Backlash the following Sunday, isn't it?
Yeah, and who knows, with social distancing, I might be able to watch it across the living room from you. You don't know.
Well, it's the 15th of June. Apparently, there's going to be a review of other guidelines and stuff, so I don't know what changes there. But for the moment, you're not allowed to be in each other's house. You've got to stay in the garden. But again, it depends on what changes. We'll just have to see. If
retail shops are opening on the 15th, it wouldn't surprise me if they say, you can go into the people's houses as well.
Yeah, we'll have to see. So
yeah. Okay.
So everybody, stay safe, stay positive. We're getting there slowly but surely. We'll get through it. We'll keep giving you content to stop us from being bored and stop you from being bored. And we'll be back next week.
Yep. See you later, people.
Bye.